Hello everybody, Tall Paul here, and today we're going to be taking another character from popular culture and bringing them into our Dungeons & Dragons game as a playable character. Today we're looking at the Doctor. The Doctor has captivated us over the last 50 years with 15 different iterations of themselves. They've had myriads of companions, gadgets, different adventures, saving the universe, the world. That's why we want to play them at our Dungeons & Dragons table. So how do we build them? Let's get started. Now, with 15 different versions of the Doctor spanning over 50 years, everyone's Doctor is going to be a little bit different. My Doctor is based off of the Tennant Smith era. That is the Doctor Who that I would want to play at the table. There are certain things that are going to span all of the Doctors, certain spells, abilities that I think fit for all of the different versions, but make sure you're flavoring it for the Doctor that you want to play. All right, let's start off with the level 20, the Doctor. This is the one that's going to be the combination of both the 2014 and the 2024 rules. The reason that we use the 2014 rules here is we really wanted to get a little bit of Artificer in here. With the Sonic Screwdriver, there's a lot of things that really work thematically with the Artificer and things like magical infusions. It's just kind of a lot of cool flavor if we're really trying to send home that Doctor flavor. Now, the one real struggle I had with creating the Doctor was whether his primary stat was going to be intelligence or charisma. I went with charisma. I have had a lot of discussions with people regarding this. There are a lot of problems that he solves with his intelligence, and there's a lot of problems he solves with his charisma. But he is very charisma forward. Things like deception, intimidation, performance, persuasion, the things that he has expertise in, or I built him with expertise, I really believe are the things that he excels in. He is very intelligent, he's very knowledgeable, but a lot of times these are the things that I see him lead with during this period of the Doctor. All right, fully built at level 20, this Doctor is Rogue 5, Artificer 3, Bard 12. He has a charisma of 20, intelligence of 16, expertise in deception, history, intimidation, investigation, performance and persuasion, and proficiency in acrobatics, arcana, religion, sleight of hand, and survival. We went with a lot of tool proficiencies as well to kind of work through the Sonic Screwdriver. We did have a good amount of languages, but the ability to communicate with the universe is really going to come through our spells. Let's run through our actions, and then we'll go over to our features and traits. So, magical tinkering, I think, is a great piece of flavor. All of a sudden, you take an inanimate object, you put your Sonic Screwdriver on it, and you're able to animate it. I think that's fantastic for the Doctor, and a really great piece of flavor. Next up, we have the Steel Defender. I think the Steel Defender as a companion is really the way this works flavor-wise. You're obviously going to have to work with your DM to see how lifelike and how realistic you're going to be able to make your companion, but the Doctor needs a companion, and this is one of the best ways that I found it without, purchasing hired help or whatever. In addition to that, Bardic Inspiration is one of those ones, and you'll hear me talk about it when we go through the different levels, I think works really well as one of the tools that the Doctor uses to help the people around him. The Doctor is a pacifist. Even though he has killed many people, you never see him outwardly attack individuals. He never uses weapons or anything like that. So helping the people around him and building up the people around him is what I really leaned into as the Doctor. Bardic Inspiration is one of those tools. Also, Master of Tactics right here with the Mastermind Rogue. Being able to do the help as a bonus action from 30 feet away really gives him some good action economy and makes him playable at the table, which pacifists can sometimes be a little bit difficult with. With that also, Cunning Action, being able to dash as a bonus action, you got to be able to run if you're the Doctor, right? All right, moving on. Using the Doctor's words is really you're gonna find as kind of a common theme amongst my Doctors. So cutting words is something that I really wanted as a bard, for him to be able to use his reaction to reduce the damage coming in just with his words. Once we get into the spells, you'll also see this theme kind of carried on. And as we get to the bottom here, we have Bolstering Performance and Infuse Item. Again, Infuse Item is a great one to use with that Sonic Screwdriver, infusing different objects with those magical properties. And then with Bolstering Performance, I have a really interesting flavor for this one. it being the sound of the TARDIS. There are so many spots in the Doctor's existence where just that sound has inspired the people around him. And I think it is a really cool flavor for this specific ability, as well as the musician origin feat in the 2024 rules. All right, let's hop over to our features and traits for the items that weren't in our action. So we're still going to have our Artificer items with our infusions, infuse item. Right tool for the job is also one that flavors really well with the sonic screwdriver. You're able to create a set of non-magical tools. Again, it can all get built into the sonic screwdriver. In addition to that, in here we also have Song of Rest, just another way to help out our allies. Jack of all trades, which the Doctor of course would be. And then again with cutting words, Font of Inspiration, Counter Charm, all in that Bard class that really accentuate the Doctor helping the people around him and being an inspiration to all of them, which I really leaned into for these builds. Down here in the rogue abilities, we do have Master of Intrigue. You gain proficiency with the Disguise Kit, Forgery Kit, and one gaming set of your choice. This plays in incredibly well. I did create a magic item for the Doctor for his psychic paper, which we'll go over. But again, that's a cool way to do it without having to get an additional item to kind of get, the Forgery Kit. And then down here at the bottom, we did go with Magic Initiate Cleric just to get a couple more of those spells, guidance to help the people around him, and Bless to kind of bolster them, and then Crafter to get more of those artisan tools. Now, for this level 20 rendition of the Doctor, I did create 2 magic items. There's a good amount of sonic screwdrivers on D&D Beyond in Homebrew, but I did create my own, as well as the Psychic Paper. Psychic Paper is a blank white card that has special properties. When shown to a person, the user can make them see whatever the user wishes them to see printed on it, giving them advantage on charisma checks against that person. However, the paper provides useless on geniuses, anyone with an int over 18, and people who are illiterate. It also won't work if the user is trying to claim something that is too unbelievable. With that, we did create the artifact, the Sonic Screwdriver. There is a short list of spells: Arcane, Lock, Knock, Counterspell, Dispel Magic, Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion, and Identify. The Sonic Screwdriver can be used as your spellcasting focus. You always have the below spells prepared, which are these. In addition, anytime that you cast one of these spells, roll a d4, and on an ood number, you do not expend a spell slot. I'm always here for a good pun, but basically you have a 50-50 shot of not expending a spell slot if you cast these items through the Sonic Screwdriver. In addition to this, the Sonic Screwdriver can be used as any mundane tool except for Carpenter's tools, including Thieves' tools. This can also operate as your multi-tool as an Artificer, so all of those things are built into this one Sonic Screwdriver. So this is my level 20 version of the Doctor that uses both the 2014 rules and the 2024 rules to kind of create what I think is the closest thing to my edition of the Doctor that I can really get. Let's move on to the 2024 only rules, but let's take a quick stop and take a look at spells. Spells are really where the Doctor can find his voice. I think you can do a lot of different things with the Doctor, from being a wizard, bard, rogue, artificer. Even certain parts of druid and cleric work really well, but I think the spells are really what are going to bring that flavor forward. So all healing, restoration, hold, or charm spells work fantastic for the Doctor. Also, here you'll see in bold the ones that I think are really important to have, especially Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion at level 7, flavoring that as the TARDIS. Legend lore, giving him the ability to kind of look into his knowledge base and figure out a problem. Tongues and comprehend languages right here so that he can communicate with all the different creatures of the world. And Tasha's Hideous Laughter and Vicious Mockery, I think, are those 2 spells that kind of really balance out the character and make him playable at the table. Having those things at low levels all the way through to the higher levels are really going to allow him to be playable and not just a persona at the table. In addition to that, you'll see a bunch of underlined spells here. These are ones that I think work really well coming out of the Sonic Screwdriver. Dancing Lights, Light, Mending, Minor Illusion, Detect Magic, Identify, Enhance Ability, Knock, dispel magic, greater invisibility, animate objects, modify memory, raise telepathic bond, program delusion, and project image. All I think work really well being cast out of the sonic screwdriver. In addition to these spells, there are other ones in here that I think just work really good as spells that the doctor would use. Things like Befuddlement, I think, is great. Power Word Stun, Regenerate, gotta kind of have that one. Power Word Fortify. Otto's Irresistible Dance, I think, is hysterical. Yolande's Regal Presence, another really good one, and I think really fits well kind of with the theme of the Doctor. And then there's a lot of really great spells that just kind of buff the individuals around you. Aid, Heroism, Bless, any of the aura spells also really work well with the Doctor. But as you'll see, I only went up to level 8 here because I only built the Doctor to about level 18 with the 2024 rules. And then for the 9th level, if you do happen to get the 9th level spells as the Doctor, I think any of the power words work really well, except maybe Kill, but power word, heal, all of those. All right, so if I was playing the Doctor in a game today that was only using the 2024 rules, this is kind of the first signpost. So the level 6 stop, I would be building 3 levels of Bard and 3 levels of Rogue right off the bat. I would go with the 3 levels of Bard first because I'm going to try to not be hitting people with weapons in my version of the Doctor. So getting your low level spells first, again, the Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Vicious Mockery, are going to get you to be able to play it out at the table fairly well. Between the Bard and the Rogue, you're going to get some expertise. And that expertise I put into Persuasion, Intimidation, Investigation, and Deception. So even at a low level of 6, we have +9 to some pretty cool skills that really work well with the Doctor. In addition to that, we get a lot of the abilities that we talked about with the level 20 Doctor. We have our Bardic Inspiration. We have our Jack of all trades, adding half our proficiency bonus to things we don't have proficiency in. We have Cutting Words, as well as Cunning Action to be able to use our bonus action to dash. And we do go with the Arcane Trickster Rogue because Mastermind is not available to give the help action at range. So we do have our Mage Hand that can do things like pick locks and stuff like that. Again, you can cast this out of the Sonic Screwdriver, which I think is great flavor. Just make sure you're communicating with your DM on what your Sonic Screwdriver can and cannot do. The 2 feats that we did take, because we are flavoring the Doctor as human, because it is the closest thing to his outside persona as we can. Again, we cannot create an immortal in D&D or something that regenerates unless that is something that you and your DM agree to beforehand. I think that is a very cool thing, but we went with Musician again to get that heroic inspiration at the end of short or long rests. Again, I think flavoring that as the sound that the TARDIS makes is just so cool. And then we went with Magic Initiate Cleric to get Bless, Guidance, and Light to boost the people around us. Now, going up in levels, we're just going to pop up to level 12. Real simple. We're just adding 6 more levels of Bard to this. For those levels of Bard, we're gaining magical discoveries, also Font of Inspiration, so we're regaining all of those uses of our Bardic Inspiration, Counter Charm, and some more expertise. We also took the Actor feat, which I think also plays really well with the Doctor that I have in my mind. With that feat, you gain the ability when you're disguised as a real or fictional person, you have advantage on charisma, deception, or performance checks to convince others that you are that person, and mimicry. You can mimic the sounds of other creatures, including speech. A creature that hears the mimicry must succeed on a wisdom insight check to determine if the effect is fake. All of this, I think, works fantastic. Impersonation, I think, works well as the Doctor, and the mimicry, I think, also plays really well as coming out of the Sonic Screwdriver. And then with the limits of the 2024 rule set, we don't have Artificer to kind of go into to gain a couple more of those cool things that we had in our other Doctor. So we're just going to go with more levels of Bard. So for this final stop in the 2024 rules, we have a charisma of 20, intelligence of 15. Our dexterity is a little bit higher in this one with 13, allowing us a little bit better checks when it comes to thieves' tools, sleight of hand, things like that. We have our expertise in deception, history, intimidation, investigation, persuasion, and religion. We didn't go with it in performance. This one we're trying to change it up a little bit. And then we also went with proficiency in athletics, which is something we didn't have in the other version, just because we run all the time and I wanted to flavor them a little bit differently. But this is going to give us a little bit better skill at running all the time. We have our tool proficiencies again with the languages. Both of those are going to be flavored incredibly well through our spells. 24 passive investigation, and what we gain by going to level 15 in Bard is 2 feats. So we got the Inspiring Leader feat as well as an ability score improvement for double charisma. Also, we have Peerless Skill. When you make an ability check or attack roll and fail, you can expend 1 use of Bardic Inspiration to roll the Bardic Inspiration die and add that number to the d20, potentially turning a failure into success. This, I think, is how I would play the Doctor in the 2024 rules. There is definitely room to put some Wizard in here or some Cleric, but I think him as just a very charismatic individual with a high intelligence that is kind of really good at a lot of different skills, not only the charisma-based skills, but investigation with a +14, history +14, religion +14, someone who's really there for those knowledge-based obstacles that you're going to face as a D&D party. And again, once you go into the spells, you can really kind of flavor it a different way, and then using magical secrets to kind of pull in different spells from the wizard, the cleric, or the druid spell list to really make the Doctor the way you want it. Because again, we're looking at 15 iterations of the Doctor. Everyone's Doctor is a little bit different in their mind. They have that episode where they think the Doctor was just the coolest, and that's who they want to play at the table. Whether your companion is Donna or the actual TARDIS personified, you can do it. You can get those things in the 2014 or the 2024 rules. The 2024 rules are a little bit more limiting just because we don't have access to the Artificer, and it's a little bit more difficult to get some of those cooler helping hands things through the Mastermind Rogue. But overall, these are 2 Doctors that I would love to play at the table, and I would be actually really excited to play the 2024 one at the table or have one of my players do it. I want to thank you all for joining me today. This is the second video where we have brought a character from popular culture and brought it into Dungeons & Dragons. Both of these characters posed a lot of challenges. Neither of them were ones that would classically use weapons. They built up the people around them. They inspired. Both Santa Claus and the Doctor are really buffers in a party and posed a lot of challenges as building them, both in the 2014 and the 2024 rules. Both of these characters would be fantastic at the table. I want to do more of these, so please, down in the comments, let me know what character you want to see me build in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. In addition to that, if you like this content, be sure to like and subscribe. I want to do more of these things and explore Dungeons & Dragons from kind of this perspective. I love DMing at the table, but I also like exploring the different and interesting ways to make characters and forcing myself into certain archetypes, I think is a fantastic way of learning that. Again, thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.